45 years to score a touchdown on offense, defense, and special teams in the same season in his rookie campaign to make him a first All-Pro selection. Who would that person be?
Marcus Jones.
Well, how do you say his name?
Marcus Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Let's go.
To have Marcus Jones here on the program. Good to see you, Marcus. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So, yeah, you did that in your first season in the NFL. Did you even surprise yourself pulling that off in 2022, Marcus?
I'll say for sure, coming into the league, being a rookie, like my thing was just finding my role, and it grew, at a fast pace and everything. But I commend everyone that was around me to help me get in a position to be able to make plays like that, and also the organization and the coaches trusting me to end up being on the field to, play one position, and the next, defense, and then also, getting on the offensive side. So definitely don't take that, for granted.
And again, it's not just any coaching staff. In 2022, that was the coaching staff of one Bill Belichick. Did he get on the phone with you the night you got drafted, Marcus?
Yeah. No, he definitely did. Just being able to hear RKK voice, and then also Bill Belichick's voice, getting drafted, man, it was definitely a dream come true, and being able to be a part of an establishment like this, with the legacy that they have, was something that I definitely was like, man, it's crazy to end up being in the position that I am, and I try to take advantage of that every single day for sure.
Yeah, RKK referring to Robert K. Kraft, who everyone knows in the football world. And in terms of that, what was your defined role when you first stepped into New England, Marcus?
Yeah, I would say my first thing was to understand how the organization worked. First off, as a rookie, you're kind of trying to learn with different people and everything. I had great leaders like Devin McCourty and also Matthew Slater. So being around them helped out a lot, but it was special teams. I would say, return the ball. So I started off at kickoff return, then got into punt return. And then after that, got some defensive plays, and then ended up transitioning to offense as well.
Well, when did you realize that this opportunity was something you could take advantage of and do more, Marcus? When did that hit you?
I would say right whenever they said they wanted me to play offense.
Oh, so you had no idea?
Like,
you had no idea that that you were being eyed for that sort of role by the staff?
no, I didn't know at first, until, I would say the week of and everything, and it was just like, hey, like, would you be open to, getting the ball on the offensive side? And I was like, hey, however I can help the team, I'm down for it. So I had to learn the playbook pretty quick, with certain things and packages and stuff, and then go from there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a serious responsibility in that regard, right? And it's not just anybody asking you. Again, it's the coaching staff of Bill Belichick being the one to ask you that. The Rich Eisen Show ESPN radio audience has just returned. We've been chopping it up for a couple minutes already with Marcus Jones on the Disney Plus ESPN app side of things, talking about the time, Marcus, in your first season there where you were asked to start playing on offense, despite being known at that point in time as just special teams. And when did you get out there on defense in your first year there? When did that happen?
I would say it was probably like week 5. I don't know specifically what week it was. I know it was the Cleveland Browns the first time I played defense. I don't know specifically what exact week, but that was the first time I played my defensive snaps and everything like that on defense.
Okay. And then when did you realize the Jets were going to kick it to you no matter what, Marcus? When did that happen?
I didn't know at first. I was thinking that they were going to kick it out of bounds, but as soon as I seen it go off the punter's foot, I was like, oh man, I could have some space and everything. And my goal most of the time is always to get the first down, but I seen I had a little bit more space, and I was like, I can definitely get to the end zone. So I commend my teammates for being able to, open up the lanes and everything for me.
What does it mean to wear that C on your chest? Again, you're a kid drafted, I believe, the 3rd round, correct? And, Troy and Houston were the 2 collegiate stops for you. You get a call from RKK and Bill Belichick, and now you're a Patriot, a special teamer who then goes and has a special rookie season. Now you got a C on your chest. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot, first off, the guys that had C's on their chest before me, man, those are some big names when it comes down to it. And being a part of, like I said, the legacy here, man, I've always been a lead by example type of person, but whenever I do talk, people listen and everything, and how I do one thing is how I do everything. So I always try to make sure, I give 110% whatever it is going on. And then also when it comes down to practice and being in the film room, however I can help the team, I'm down for it. I talk to the rookies, anytime they need help. Communication is a big thing, especially on the back end. So everyone on the defensive side, DB wise, we always have to be in tune with each other with motions, different plays and adjustments, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, as you know, with the history of New England, Marcus, that it's very rare for someone to come in and have three coaches in 3 years. You know, it's been nothing but one way of doing it and consistency, and then an inconsistency that's rare for the franchise. What's happened this year for everything to be sort of like a lightning strike and come together that you have from your perspective?
Yeah, I would say from my perspective, um, it was a lot of new faces that came into the building. It was used to, consistency and that everyone know, and knowing everyone, but we had a lot of new faces, and I would say we got to know everyone. We had the four H's, that they talked about a little bit on ESPN, getting to know how people got into the game of football, their family, things that they like to do, interests, all of those things, and then also, the heartbreaks when it came down to it. So, learning more about the people that surround you make you want to play harder for your brother on the field, and that that person also has your back as well. So I feel like a lot of off the field stuff helped us, build our trust when it comes down to being on the field.
What happened off the field? Can you give me some examples of that?
Oh yeah, I
Any?
would say off the field, DB wise,
Sure.
on our off days we watch film and then also eat Chick-fil-A at the same
Ah,
time. So we spend
okay.
time when it comes to doing things like that.
Burgers form
Also
or nugget
community
form?
wise,
Like what form? What form are we
nah, it's
dipping sauces?
breakfast.
Okay, breakfast.
Breakfast.
Okay,
So
that's it.
yeah,
Hey, I've brought that in
yeah, the
many times.
Chick-fil-A
Okay,
breakfast, the Chick-fil-A,
okay,
the minis.
okay.
People love the minis and
That's
everything.
okay. Good to know.
And then also community service stuff. A lot of people have different foundations that they support. And then also Donna when it comes down to things that we do with the Pats and everything like that too. That helps out a lot. So
How has Vrabel changed it?
I would say when it comes down to it, he's been a player in the league. So that's the one thing that I say he knows what it takes to, put in a lot of time and effort when it comes down to it. And then also, coaching wise, like the excitement, like he wants us to celebrate together. If people make plays, the first thing you do is tell you to go to the end zone and celebrate with your teammates. So that's something that we love to do, and love to see him have support with that. And then also whenever we're out there at practice, like it comes down to consistency. It doesn't just end up happening on Sunday. It's through the week of the preparation, making sure that we know about every situation that comes up in the game. You love to hear that. And then also like keeping us up to the standard, making sure that we always are never complacent. That's something that we have to embrace, and understanding that the hard times ends up coming with great measures, because at the end of the day, like whenever we're playing the way that we need to play and everything like that, we trust in one each other and we see that it works.
Okay, and you mentioned he's not just any player either, Marcus Jones, right? The banners that you see every home game for him to basically he doesn't say it, but you know it. He helped hang half of them at least, right? So does that factor in to following what he's leading?
For for sure, whenever you have the resume and things like that to where we wanna be a part of, you gotta listen to that, you know what I mean? Like I said, he understands the effort that you have to put into it, the sacrifices as well, and, having that resume and knowing how to get there and everything like that is something that we love to hear from him.
Do you sometimes watch back your returns and see him running down the sideline almost stride for stride, Marcus? Do you see those moments on film sessions at all? No?
Sometimes we'll see those things, but
Okay.
most of the time, whenever I'm watching a film, I'm seeing, how I kind of set up, and then also, the guys that's blocking for me. That's the things that
Mm,
I kind of, look for, because
okay.
at the end of the day, it's great to, have the score and everything, but without my guys out there blocking for me, it couldn't happen.
I like it. There's no I in Marcus or Jones here on the Rich Eisen Show. Does have two eyes in it. What is it? So walk me through what it's like to, after a win, be welcomed by Mike Vrabel prior to getting back to the locker room. What is that like for you and your teammates, Marcus?
Yeah, first off, man, I would say whether it's a win or a loss, he's doing the exact same thing. So it's
Okay.
not just from the win perspective. But he understands the dedication and the sacrifices that we put into the situation of playing this game. So having his support as soon as we come up in the locker room, it means a lot because at the end of the day, he's up here early in the morning, late at night and everything. And he understands, like I said, the practice, the dedication, the sacrifices that we have. So being able to have him as soon as we walk into the locker room and see the support and him, shaking everyone's hands and everything, it means a lot.
Let's talk about the quarterback, your quarterback, and Drake May. When did give me, if you don't mind, a good example, a good story of this year at any point. Could have been OTAs, training camp, during the game where you're like, okay, kids different. Kids, more grown up. You got something for me on that front,
Yeah,
Marcus
I
Jones?
would say, seen him whenever his rookie year came in. And as a quarterback, being a part of, you know, uh learning new systems and everything, sometimes it can be overwhelming for certain people and everything. But he was always asking questions to the DBs and stuff like, why did you play this like this? Or did you see my eyes? And the constructive criticism when it came down to he's trying to learn coverages of how people are doing things. That means a lot, especially from the quarterback position. And then OTAs, man, the second year training camp, like you could see just the comfortability that he has in the pocket and the confidence. It means a lot whenever you have a quarterback back there with confidence. And us on the sideline, man, wherever he throws, whatever he does with the ball and everything, like we trust him with any decision that he makes. And we've seen it in the growth over time. So I'm happy for him.
So he would ask you and your colleagues in the defensive back room for any tips on if he's tipping his throws based on his eye level or eye placement. He was doing that.
Yeah, so I would say like anytime that he's asking, the defensive guys like, "Hey, did you see me do this or how can I make this a little better or what coverage were you guys in on this?" He wanted to learn how we kind of do our work on the back end, and that's a great thing to have because at the end of the day, when you're a quarterback, man, you got to learn how to read coverages and everything. So I was just glad to end up, seeing those things because he wants to better himself.
And you being a corner, you don't want to be tested, right? Or you do, right? Maybe like throw at me. I've
I
got
do.
this. Okay, you do. So him throwing over Derek Stingley Jr. is no joke, right? Like that throw to Booty. What was that like for you watching that from the sidelines, Marcus?
Yeah, it was a great throw and catch. At the end of the day, Drake put the ball where only his receiver can get it, and then Booty made a play to where only where he can end up making a catch, and that was a spectacular catch and everything like that. We've seen them make plays and everything like that before, so the chemistry is definitely there, and we were definitely excited about the play.
Okay. Let's get to the AFC Championship game. You know the challenge, you know what's in front, and you know probably what all of us in the media are talking about. It's the quarterback in Denver and Jarrett Stidham, who was there before you in New England for a hot minute. I mean, what can you possibly do to prepare for somebody who hasn't thrown a pass in over 740 days, Marcus?
Yeah, I would say the main thing is playing to our identity. We know what our strengths and our weaknesses when it comes down to it. Um and then also in the National Football League, man, no matter who's back there at quarterback, if you give the person time, they can dice up any defense when it comes down to it. This is a guy that's been part of the league for a minute as well, so he knows his strengths and his weaknesses when it comes down to it as well. So being able to play our football is very important. We want to make sure to disguise and then also get back to the quarterback and everything like that. So making sure that we're in the right places at the right time is very important.
So, are you watching 2, 3, 4 year old cut ups? Is that what you're watching? A little
So
bit.
we'll see some cut ups of basically how he played and everything like that from 2 3 years ago, and then also at the end of the day, like the guy that's going to be calling the plays and everything like that is going to make sure that he's prepared when it comes down to it as well. So
I bet. What would it mean for you to play in a Super Bowl?
oh, it would mean a lot. There's different levels and different checklists, that we have when it comes down to it. Our first thing was to win the division, and then now we're taking it one by one. Of course, the end goal is to win a Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, we're focused on the AFC Championship first.
Okay. So you've scored on a pick six. You've scored on a return on special teams, right? You scored on offense as well. a catch and run. Can you throw one in too? What do you got? Yeah.
Man, I would be open to it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would be
Sure.
open to, trying that out and everything like that. But
Do you lobby?
I
Do you
mean, if it
lobby for
comes,
this sort of thing now? Now, I mean, you've got enough time in the league now. You got the C on your chest. Can you now pound the table for yourself, Marcus Jones?
I feel like I could, but I feel like Drake got that handled. So I'm gonna leave it to
Okay.
Drake.
I don't know. Sometimes one never knows. However, you can pitch in, and it could be a real. Obviously, good luck this weekend and a very special week in San Francisco because I do expect both gentlemen who got on the phone with you on your draft night to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame on that Thursday before the Super Bowl. Anybody that around there talking about that sort of stuff at all, Marcus?
Not too much right now. I can't say too much about
Okay.
that. But what I will say is that a lot of importance is going into this game and everything like that. You know how it is. A part of this organization, we keep the main thing the main thing.
Absolutely. Marcus, thanks for the time. Really pleasure getting to chat with you and meet with you. My 14-year-old son, Cooper, is a diehard fan of yours and the Patriots. A lot of dad cool points for me to chat with you today. And he would want me to tell you, go ball out, make him happy.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
You take
No,
care.
thank you guys for having me and everything.
You bet. Hopefully this is the first of many. Marcus Jones here of the New England Patriots prior to the AFC Championship game.
Let's go.
On the Rich Eisen Show. Another one to root for.
Absolutely.